How can I get my husband out of the slump my affair caused? Plus updates. Original post. I 31 female. Just want to say I love my husband 32 male. He's an amazing man. The love of my life. A few months ago, I cheated. Afterwards, he hasn't been the same. He even threatened to divorce me, which is understandable, but I convinced him to try for our kids. For context, I never thought I would ever cheat, but we recently had twins. Babies are stressful for any married couple, and we already had a young toddler in the house. We both work and have decent jobs, but my job is hybrid and his isn't. During this time, I didn't feel beautiful and was going through postpartum. My husband, when he's not working, has been a great dad and does his share of the household labor. He honestly does most of the cooking and I do the cleaning, but we alternate. Where things go wrong, my husband was great at being a dad, but not necessarily the best husband. Before the twins, even with our eldest, he planned dates of just the two of us, made me feel beautiful, etc. I think when the twins came, he got so caught up in the stress of the 3 young children he forgot we needed to support each other. I didn't feel the raunchy desire like I used to feel, and while I was losing weight, it wasn't at the progress I wanted. One day, my husband was watching the kids so I could get a break. I went shopping and ran into an old acquaintance I went to high school with. Mind you, I don't live in the same state I grew up in. We asked each other how we ended up here. I noticed he was flirting and let him know I'm happily married, but would be glad to catch up. We went from texting to sexting to a full-blown affair in the snap of an eye. Husband alerted. My husband was already suspicious because I made excuses to leave home and stopped sharing my location with him. Well, my affair partner didn't tell me he had a girlfriend, and that girlfriend found out about me and that I was married and told my husband. The fallout was my husband threatened divorce, but I knew that would hurt the kids the most and was able to reason with him. I felt horrible that I put him through so much pain, but even though we agreed to stay, he was completely different and wouldn't even sleep in the same room with me. I recently confronted him about how I've taken responsibility for my actions, and if we're going to fix this, we need to do this as a team. My husband cried, and he's not the type, and told me that I hurt him. He had a very rough childhood and has no contact with both his parents. He told me that when we got together, I helped rebuild his trust in people, and he thought he had someone he could count on. He told me that now he knows it doesn't matter who the person is. Everyone is liable to hurt you if it benefits them. That cut deep. I want him to know that he can trust me and that I won't hurt him again. We are going to start couples therapy, but I want to know particularly from couples who went through this what we can both do going forward. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. He can't trust you, lol. You proved it to him. You say I won't hurt him again, right after you said I never thought I'd ever cheat. I made a huge selfish mistake, but after seeing what it did to my husband, I know I never want to do that to anyone I love again. I made a huge selfish mistake? No, ma'am. You made a huge selfish decision. A mistake is forgetting to lock the door when you leave, not allowing an affair to bloom. Every single text you sent was a choice. Every time you snuck out was a choice. Every time you slept with that man and went home to your husband pretending nothing was going on was a choice. You knew it was wrong and continued on. This wasn't a mistake. Own what you did. Saying it was a mistake is a slap in the face to your husband. I doubt he gets past it, and he shouldn't. You aren't to be trusted. You came here asking for advice and perspective. Based on your replies, you don't see the way you frame this as lacking accountability or remorse, etc. But that's how everyone else, and very likely your husband, sees it. So, my advice would be to practice dropping the defensiveness, taking accountability here, so hopefully you can do so with your husband. If that's how people have taken it, then I worded it poorly. I do take full responsibility, and I feel extreme remorse for what I did. I don't know how to illustrate that because even when I say it, no one believes me. Not to pile on here, but ask yourself one simple question. How many lies did I have to tell my husband, a man I swore a vow to get away with and hide my affair? And then ask, then why should he or anyone else believe a word I say? Not really that hard to understand, is it? Layer on the fact that she didn't come clean, she got caught. And the husband also has to deal with the question, would she have continued cheating if she hadn't gotten caught? And that he can't trust any answer she might give. Now for the first update. I didn't do it because he was being a bad husband. Even though that's what I told myself, I was selfish. We have 3 kids, and while I love them very much, sometimes I wish I was young again. I didn't appreciate being a young girl in my early 20s, and now I'm not appreciating the fact that I have a wonderful family. I need to start living in the moment. I don't know how long the affair would have lasted if we weren't caught. If I'm honest, a long time. I was living in my head that he would have never found out, and that I would get the best of both worlds. I'm glad I start individual counseling next week. I'm excited and nervous, but I know it's time to finally hold myself accountable. My husband is still distant but better. He's treating me like a roommate. If he goes to the store, he will ask if I need something. Just acts like an all-around caring guy and is still considerate of what I need. He understandably isn't affectionate and still sleeps in the other room. Thank you for all the resources and support so far. Second update. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for the resources provided and for caring. Sorry for being unresponsive. I'm very busy with work and 3 young children. Therapy has been hard but rewarding. It's been challenging really looking yourself in the mirror. I had to come to terms with a lot of stuff that I didn't want to about myself. I'm working on cleaning myself up. I've been taking initiative and planning stuff for us to do. Our marriage was extremely one-sided, and I'm trying to step up and do my part. We are reforming that friendship. We can hang out and do stuff. The challenge we are still facing is romantically. He is not ready to open himself back up, but I'm not rushing him. I want us to move on his terms. There's no intimacy, romantic affection, and he still prefers sleeping in a separate bedroom. Third update 16 months from the first post. Hi everyone, I don't even know how to process this update. We were going to marriage counseling, and I thought it was helping us. I've been putting in the work in therapy, owning my mistakes, trying to rebuild what I broke. But he just gave up. He stopped showing up to sessions, told me he didn't see the point anymore, and then out of nowhere, he filed for divorce. I honestly don't understand. He says he still loves me. I can see it in the way he looks at me sometimes, in the way he cares for the kids, and even still asks if I need something when he runs to the store. But at the same time, he insists there's no going back. How can you love someone and not fight for the marriage? Isn't love supposed to mean you try even when it's hard? I know I messed up, and I've admitted that 100 times. But I thought if I showed him I was changing, if I proved I was serious about fixing myself, that it would matter. Instead, it feels like nothing I do makes any difference. He's so distant, sleeping in another room, acting like we're just business partners raising kids. I don't know what else to do. I love him, and I thought that would be enough. Right now, I'm just in shock that he's really ready to walk away. You have to realize that trust, once broken, is perhaps the hardest thing to rebuild. Some people simply can't do it. I realized that, but he didn't even give me an opportunity to regain his trust. I found so many resources on regaining trust in a marriage, and he half-assed it. I showed him I was willing to do anything to make this right. He's just letting the love and family we built fall apart without any sort of fight. I realize that, but you clearly do not realize that. He's not letting anything fall apart. You shredded it all up, and now he's left to watch the pieces float to the ground. Maybe he didn't like the fact you slept with another man. I also would have a hard time with that. Which do you think was harder? You not banging that guy, or your husband moving forward with the mental image of you banging that guy? You frame him as the problem, and you as the one willing to do anything. Clearly, the one thing you weren't willing or able to do was remain faithful. Hard to fault the guy for walking away. You want advice? Accept responsibility and move on. Maybe you'll find someone else to share your life with. And if you do, don't make the same mistake. Unfortunately, that kind of mistake is more often than not a pattern. Read all her posts. She's done this from the start. Says she took responsibility, but her affair partner's girlfriend caught them and told the husband. She's pissed he didn't take her cheating with a smile on his face. Now for the last update. I'm genuinely seeking some answers. My husband moved out, and it's been very difficult for me. I've gotten him to agree to not go through a divorce yet, but to just move out and give each other some space. He came over to drop off the kids, and I asked him if he still loves me. He told me yes. He said he hates how much he loves me, but he loves me. I told him that I love him too, and that it is worth fighting for, but he just said I wouldn't understand. Please be respectful, but help me understand why you can love someone but not want to fight for your marriage with them. Unless he spelled out his reasons, you're going to drive yourself sick with imagining and trying to make sense of what he's thinking. You can't know. Ultimately, you're not inside his head and no longer in his heart. Try to pick yourself up and move on from him. Go to be with someone who wakes up every day to love and protect you. He doesn't think he can ever trust me again after my affair, but he didn't even try. But thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm not ready to start dating yet, but it seems like there's no way to save this marriage if he's not mentally in it anymore. You broke his trust in you. Of course, he still loves you, but doesn't trust you. Many people believe once a cheater, always a cheater. This is a very hard, if not impossible, hurdle for most people to get over. You need a third party, a marriage counselor, to work with you guys if he's even open to that. He was open to it, but he was super inconsistent in attending. I even found subs on here that would help us get our marriage on track. I just feel that if he loves me and I love him, that we need to fight. Listen, he could alternatively ask you, if you loved me, why would you cheat on me? Have you considered his perspective? Don't push him on this and give him space. I've given him space. It's been more than a year. I cheated because I was selfish, not because I didn't love him. But if you loved him, your love for him would have been more important and stronger than your desire to have an affair and deliberately betray him. No, you don't love him. You love the idea of being married to him. Last story. I am the one that cheated. He deserved better. I owe an amends. I, 41 female, married a wonderful man in 2018. We were both 34 years old at the time and had been dating for 4 years. A month into our marriage, I cheated on him with my neighbor's son who was 18. No, I have to be completely honest. I had been hooking up with him prior to our marriage and should have had the courage to tell him before we got married, but I didn't. He came home from work, found us in bed, the bed that he made for us, together, drunk and hooking up. It was awful. What I did subsequently was even worse. In a panic, I tried to lie to him and say we didn't have sex, only third base stuff. Not sure why I thought that would be any better, but it was worse. He even called me a few days later and asked me to be honest with him, and I wasn't. I tried to lie again. He left, took what he wanted from the house, and I have never heard from or spoken to him since then. Small note, we hadn't filed the marriage license with probate yet, so the marriage was never official. No legal action was necessary. After this, what I know now was my alcoholism took off. I ended up in jail a few times, hung out with people I had no business being around. I went from a white picket fence, a loving man, and an amazing job, to homeless, jobless, and constantly inebriated in 4 months flat. I know now, looking back, I would have been in this state of distress much sooner had he not been supporting me during my alcoholism. He made sure I didn't drink too much at bars. He had to pull me out of the tub when I passed out and nearly drowned in my own filth. He never knew what he was coming home to. I tell myself I was a benevolent dictator, that I wasn't ever outwardly mean to him, but there were so many blacked out nights I really don't know, and it's important I am honest with myself and everyone else here. He didn't deserve any of that. He grew up with an alcoholic father who did that to his mom, and I know that's why he put up with me as long as he did. God, I hate saying that, but it's true. Fast forward 7 years. It took 4 years of life and mistakes to get and stay sober. Today I celebrate 3 years of continuous sobriety. I am a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and our 9th step is to make amends, except where it would do harm. I tried to reach out 2 years ago via his email to offer amends if he wanted. He did not respond, and I have taken that as his choice not to want to connect. This is the most painful thing I have inflicted on the world and owe in terms of karma and respect to all those who have had their heart broken by someone they trusted. In one of my treatment centers, there were 3 treatment visits. Another patient walked in on his wife cheating on him. They did an exercise where they put our chairs back to back and had us talk to our significant others. He was able to get his rage out, and I cried and apologized to a man that did not deserve the pain I betrayed his trust with. It was cathartic and has sustained me, but 2 days ago I noticed my LinkedIn profile page was viewed by my ex-husband. My heart sank to the floor and I have not been able to get my feet under me since then. I was dating someone and I broke it off because I can tell I have unresolved gunk still under all this pain I caused. I know it's my fault I caused the pain, but when you heal your mind from the alcoholic blur and let your heart see what you have done, one of the hardest people to forgive is yourself. One of the ways to help with this is to offer honest and full restitution to the one you harmed. I want to make sure none of my old selfish alcoholic thoughts and excuses cloud my judgment here, so I came here to ask the advice of those who have been in his shoes. I'd like to message him via LinkedIn and ask him if he would like to receive my amends, but also I don't want to overstep my boundaries and cause him unnecessary pain. I did not look at his page back, so he will not see that I looked at his page or have anything further that would remind him of me. I take full responsibility for my previous betrayal. Drunk or not, it was a painful blow to the world as a whole, and restitution is owed, but only if it will bring him peace. I'm self-aware enough to know I want to unburden myself too, which is why I need an outside opinion on whether or not I have a right to disturb his peace or offer restitution. Don't. I'll be quite straightforward about this, and I apologize in advance. You don't actually think your ex-husband believed that third base lie you told, do you? No one can be that stupid. What you're doing now is just as selfish as what you did back then, because you're making this amends as part of your own program. I'm speaking from inside his shoes. No confession you make, no closing words you say, will bring him peace. He will always remember you as the woman who, in the very first month of marriage, was with another man in the sacred marriage bed. That's the reality. Not harsh at all. No, I know he did not believe me. But his father never apologized to his mom, and his mom felt less than because of it. If my actions continue to make him feel less than, and I can lift that by looking him in the face and saying I was the jerk, you didn't deserve that, and I wish you nothing but all the peace the world has to offer you, and it would help him, I would. You owe him peace of mind. Leave him the hell alone. If he wants to hear from you again, ever, he will reach out. He wants to move on from what you've done, and you popping back into his life just to say I'm sorry could undo a lot of the hard work he's had to do to get past your betrayal. I say again, leave him the hell alone. Thank you, I will. The resounding consensus here is to let him be. So I am. Thank you for sharing, truly. Edit/update. After reading the responses, I have decided not to reach out. I can say in my heart of hearts my true motive is to find the path of the most healing for him. I have had people make amends to me, and there is a healing power when someone who treats you less than human takes accountability for their misbehavior and reminds you that the value of humanity stayed the same. It was them that faltered. Something in my self-esteem seemed to be restored after I received their amends. I didn't realize it, but there was a little voice in my head that told me I deserved it when I was treated poorly. So when they took accountability, it erased that insecure pain point. I thought that might be something I could offer him. Maybe one day something will come to fruition naturally, but I will leave it alone until then as suggested. Thanks for all y'all's advice. Godspeed.